Welcome to Yentas in the City, Simcha Leiner. You are a marketing genius. You released a song in 2011, which you composed and produced with your friends, and it blew up. Since then, you released 3 solo albums and just released your 4th studio album, Marakeh. Kol Kavod. Before I ask you my question, I want to just let you know that Etsy and I attended the 50 years celebrating Maimonides, the concert Many Voices, One Song, and you were awesome. Actually, Shweki's manager invited us to the concert, and we were sitting in the second row, rocking out to your songs.
With Yalla Balagan hats.
Yeah, we were wearing these Yalla Balagan hats that everybody wanted after the concert, but you were awesome. It was an awesome concert.
Thank you. It was really great to be introduced to you first in person, because you don't get to really understand or see the real essence of a person until you get to meet them in person. So that was a treat for me to understand. And everyone should know that the way you guys are on the screen is exactly the way you are in real life. You know, you guys are from LA, so everyone assumes that you're one person on screen, right? And then another person in the real world. But no, this is actually not a show.
Thank you so much.
You are so sweet. You are awesome. We're like huge fans, really. We're really excited to have you on Yentas in the City. Simcha, I wanted to know, what is the difference between you and other performers? And what pressures do you encounter? And we know that you sing because you want to sing, not because you have to sing. So can you address that?
Sure. You know, it's much easier to answer that question 15 years after I've started singing, looking back, you know, as opposed to if you asked me this question in 2010, 2008, you know, you're about to start singing, you know, tell me like what you've done or you plan on doing different than other singers. And I think that's not a conscious decision that we can make. It's sort of a, you know, the path that's chosen for us. And that's really where it takes us. And it's much easier in retrospect to look back. I think that looking back now, I think what makes me, I guess, different from other singers is that you really summed it up, that I sing because I love to sing. I don't sing because I have to sing. I chase the good feeling, not the feeling that others might see me as. So a good example is the Maimonides concert is a show that has recently become, you know, a headlining show, a show that everyone would do anything to be on. It became a marquee show in the Jewish music world. But if it's going to be too stressful or too, the situation doesn't make sense for me, you know, Gam Tova, Gam Yavo, I'm sure there's another opportunity for me to sing, another a place and a time. For me, singing is more of a passion, a labor of love than it is something that, you know, keeps me bogged down every single day. I'd say I've established myself a little bit as the traveling singer. You know, I think that I'm on the road more than pretty much anyone else in the industry. 50 to 60% of my events are not in my state that I live in. So that gave me this renewed, you know, cheshek, this renewed like fire to meet new people every night. And the encounter that we had in the lobby of the Langham Hotel in Pasadena, California is a great example of what—
We chased you in the hallway.
It's what I get to experience every single night. So if there's no, you can't replicate that feeling. You can't, there's nothing in this world that is as exciting and invigorating as meeting new people every night. And that's really what keeps me going, and it keeps me, you know, keeps those pressures at bay, keeps the love of music alive.
Before I go into the next question, I wanted to ask you, you just said it, 60% of your time you travel. And I wanted to find out, is that really hard on the family? Like you have kids?
Sure. It's definitely something that they've gotten used to over the years. Trust me, you feel it in your heart when one of my kids will either say, why are you home tonight?
Why are you home?
or like,
what happened?
Yeah, whatever.
It's like, do we really have to do our homework today?
Right. Or they'll say something like, are you going away this? Over the years, I used to do a lot of weekend Shabbosim as Chazan, in communities all over the world. And as my kids got older, we've sort of established guidelines, as a family. I don't do more than one Shabbos a month or something like that. So oftentimes it could be the first Shabbos in November and the last Shabbos in December, and there's 8 weeks in between that I'm home straight, and that one Shabbos will come and my kids are not used to it anymore, because for 8 weeks straight I've been home, and that's what the norm is for them. And it really hits hard. Leaving is not the same when you leave once in a while than when you leave every day. So it's definitely difficult, and we try to in my family we celebrate the Chol HaMoed the week after Pesach. It's like
right.
we do our trips the week after.
It's so funny because we do the same thing with my husband with tax season. So when everybody is on winter break, we end up going like when everybody is not on vacation.
100%. People always say that.
Because if we don't do it this way, you would not be able to afford the luxury life that you guys are living.
100%.
I wanted to ask you, when Klal Israel hears of a tragedy, your song, which I love the name, Kol Berama, an international song which is so uplifting in terms of tragedy, comes to mind. What is the inspiration behind that particular song? Can you tell us
Sure.
what was the making? And just so for our audience that don't speak Hebrew, it says Kol Berama, I would loud voices.
A loud voice was heard from it. Basically talks about the story of Rachel Imenu, who she was buried. Our the grandmother of all of the Jewish people was buried at the side of the road. It's a place where anyone and everyone, can share their sorrows, can share their pains, and beseech our mother, Rachel, to ask God to pray on our behalf. And the truth is that song was written immediately following the tragedy in Itamar. The Fogel family was massacred in their home on a Friday night. I was in yeshiva at the time. I didn't have any way to process this tragedy. So I wrote a song about it, and I did not write the song with any intention of distributing it, releasing it. I was in yeshiva. I had no ambitions in the music world. I was finishing up my degree, not music background. We can talk about that. But this song sat around for a few months in my own little head, in my own little world. And someone who had heard the song, because people were emailing it to each other or sending it out. It was really, under the radar, created a video to it, just depicting the story, the tragedy of Itamar. And it was shown on the Tisha B'Av video that year. And from there, it just absolutely took on a life of its own and catapulted into the, to the extent that every year, Motzei, Tisha B'Av, the night right before everyone breaks their fast, at the Kotel Plaza, there's thousands and thousands of people sing that song. And every year I get the videos, the same time. I can expect it already. And then they break their fast as a way to,
How do you feel when you see that? What is going on in your brain?
Right.
Processing. This is your work, and all thousands of people are singing this at the Kotel. This is
it's what you guys are doing is similar in a way that before our generation, sort of the work that you accomplished in your lifetime was the work that you accomplished in your lifetime. Our generation, this work is now eternal. It's online forever. Songs are a part of our neshama. It's a part of our, the Jewish people have a fabric it's constantly being woven new parts onto it, whether that's people, the new generation of people, or our culture, our things that bring us closer to Hashem, which is music and tefillah and Torah, so all these type of things. So it's every time you have a conversation with someone that inspires someone, you add it to this giant quilt, this fabric that is the Jewish people.
All I have to tell you is you are very lucky that the Yentas are not your mother. Because if my son had a song like this that he sung in Jerusalem, I would be walking around like a peacock. Showing
You know, for the
off.
first 2 years, she absolutely did. Don't worry. You know, you can get used to anything, as they say.
Oh, that's so nice. You know, Simcha, let's discuss your music videos for a moment. I don't
Sure.
think that most of your fans know that you edit your own videos. Would you say that that's for quality control purposes? And do most of your videos have a comprehensive storyline?
Right. So to back up a little bit, before my music career, I would say, got launched on its own, I was pursuing two things. I worked in finance. At the same time, I would help out on the marketing side of a lot of big companies. And one of the things I did was I would do these like what they call today viral marketing, you know, videos that were creative, clever, quick, you know.
I just want to interject for 1 minute. That's why I said in the intro that you are known as a marketing genius. And I don't think a lot of your fans know that you have a master's, I think, in finance, correct?
That's right, marketing and finance. So that is that's I guess the behind the scenes peek over here. So when we're being visited, yes, Mary Love.
Oh, so cute.
No. Hey, Mary Love, go get your book, and I'm going to come to your room right after. Okay.
She can say hi to
say
us.
hi to
Can
my
we
friend?
say hi?
Hi.
Yeah. No matter how good of a marketer, I cannot convince this one to buy this product that I'm selling called Bedtime. Do you want to sit here?
I just want to tell you, when we interviewed Nissim Black, one of his kids was just kind of came and sat on his lap, and the entire interview was
Just crashed on his lap.
just crashed on the father's lap. So we are used to it.
It's good. It's real. It's the real world, you know. It's Baruch Hashem. These are the things that we have to worry about, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'll get back into. So what happened was that at the time when Jewish music, the Jewish music scene, when I had just joined the scene, the video was not a major element of it at all. There was very, very little video in the world of Jewish music. And it's something that was like a gaping hole that I felt I had this opportunity to fill. And things like, you see drones today by every wedding. Like the first drone shot in Jewish music was on my video. The first animation in a Jewish video was in my video. The first, these are things that I almost would look out like, what can I do that wasn't done before, And that really kept me going. But what I found is that anything technical, anything that took, skill or time would take forever. And anytime you had an edit, it would be another 2 days, another 3 days. And that's when I sort of developed this drive of like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it myself. And since then, most of my work, not everything, obviously, you had mentioned in the intro about my albums. There's actually about 6 or 8 weeks ago, we put out an album called Home, the latest album to be released. And it's called Home because it was produced in my home. Particularly during COVID, we didn't really have a choice when a lot of the album was produced. And most of the musicians even recorded their parts from their homes all over the world, which was just an unbelievable experience to see people, doing their guitar solo and their kid walks into the room and had to start over. It's just something so natural about it. It's so beautiful. So there's the latest music video from there. I did produce a couple of them for this album. One of them was released already. It's called Shuvi. We have another one in production this week. And I'm starting to notice Shuvi, we brought on a whole big crew, a whole big team. And Home, the title track, I'm doing myself. And I can assure you that Home is going to have a more of a personal touch to it. And I think people will see that because it's me and a cameraman. There's no one else. It's like,
I wanted to ask you, were you married when you started the music, or what age did you start the music?
I was not married at the time. I was avoiding too much of the spotlight when I was single, purposely. I didn't want to sort of marry someone who knew about my music abilities. And in truth, my wife, we're about to celebrate our 11th anniversary.
Awesome.
Thank you. Did not had never heard me sing live before we met. So that was a nice little touch, you know, it made it a little bit more personal and special that we built a relationship on relationships, not on something else. And once I got married, I was working, as I said, in finance. And at the same time, I was being called very frequently to guest appear at random things as a singer. So we sort of, between the two of us, made like a benchmark that said, whatever of the two jobs, you know, hits X amount of income, it's sort of our way of doing our hishtadlut, you know, our putting out there, you know, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you tell me what I should do. And music very quickly, within a few months, it was very obvious that music was something that I should pursue.
You are just the nicest guy.
Yes,
Oh, this is all a show. Wait till I better make sure to turn off the camera.
Until we get off the air, you say.
Wait till you hear the real bedtime after this.
I wanted to ask you, Simcha, are you Israeli? Like your parents are Israelis?
So no, I have almost no Israeli blood in me. I'm very quick to pick up language. And I anytime that I do want to learn a language, I sit down, I speak a fluent Yiddish. You know, anytime I want to pick up a language, I try to talk to people that speak the language only in that language. And I tell them, what about me, if you heard me speaking in the streets of Ben Yehuda, would tell you, oh, he's American. And those are the things that I try to change, you know, the different.
Because I notice a lot of your songs are like Hebrew, Shuvi.
That's right.
Why is that? Because of your connection to Israel, or?
Not entirely. It's funny, both my grandparents, my mother and father, both of their parents came from very Hasidic homes. They say in Jewish music, you don't have a neshama in Jewish music if you're not either Hasidic or Sephardic. So, you know, everyone has somewhat of a connection in there. If you have to go back an extra generation to find it, that's fine, you know, no matter what it takes. My grandfather was a Satmar Chassid, like beard and payas and all. And he fought, after the Holocaust, he fought for Ben Gurion. So if you go into the Ben Gurion Museum today in Yerushalayim, it's an amazing museum. There's a big picture of the troops marching, and there's one person with a long beard in the whole army that they let him, you know, usually they have to shave in the army. And he said, I'm here to fight for my country, but at the same time, I'm a Chassid, and we don't, you know, Chassidim don't shave. So he's the one soldier in the entire army.
That's amazing. I wanted to ask you, your hit song, Change the World, which is your own composition. You dedicated to Rabbi Einoen from LA, who is a composer himself, which is very hard.
He's obsessed with the song, by the way.
What?
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
He's obsessed with the song.
Yes, we are.
I am too.
So I wanted to tell you, he's a composer himself, and you composed the song which you dedicated to him. Is it because he inspired you to write an English song? The Yentas want you to give us the scoop, because we are Yentas. We are the Yentas for a reason.
I think he inspired me to not care so much. I know that might sound a little bit in a negative connotation, but it's really not. But when it comes to like art, you know, people are so nervous and they're so worried about what everyone's going to think.
Hi,
she's so cute. Hi.
Oh my God, she's gorgeous, Brianna.
That's Miri.
Do you like listening to your Abba?
She can't even hear you, because let me see if I can put this on into her ear. Listen, Miri. You don't want it? Okay. Yeah. So everyone is very, very nervous. Everyone's very you know, self-conscious, I guess is the right word. And you know, I think he put out an album once with like 25 songs. Like, just some of them were finished, some of them were not. He didn't care. It was just like, these are songs that are fresh and written, and you know, he just released them.
She's so cute.
Beauty.
I'm just gonna remind you all that in New York it's very, very late.
Is she your youngest one?
She's my youngest. We have twin boys that are 9 years old, her older brother.
Wow. So she's the princess.
She's the princech.
She's
really, right now she's a mermaid. We'll get the princess. It goes by the week, right, Mary? Yeah. So that was my first English song that I'd written, and it was inspired by that feeling of just just go for it. Just try. You know, don't care too much what people think. And that's a lot of people really connected with that song. I was hoping it would become part of like a commercial or something. You know, like.
It will.
Enjoy.
There's time.
I'm telling you, actually, there is something refreshing, especially if you're an artist, not to care. Because I think that when you don't really, you do it because not to impress anyone, and you just let your soul, because it's a soul thing. So I think when you put limitation about what people might think, you're not going to write as.
Right. Yeah, you're not gonna. It's a filter that you want to remove.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So Simcha, you know, good music, we all know, is good music. Not only Jewish people listen to your music. Apparently you have a really big Mormon population inspired by your music. Can you talk to us about your multicultural and religious fan base? And also, you know, I wanted to know if you feel a responsibility to act a certain way since your non-Jewish fan base have no shaykhs to Judaism.
Right. I think, you know, the lifestyle of an Orthodox Jew, you know, basically personifies living the life of, to someone that isn't in our community or in that community. They might just, as a, you know, in appearance, in observation, might just look at it as ethics, you know, caring about people, altruism, things that in our world, because we were raised in this beautiful sort of culture and society and Yiddishkeit, these are things that are not like when you become an adult growing up in a Jewish home and you go out to college or a regular secular scene, hey, Mir, you realize very quickly that that a lot of these things that are instilled in us are not like, it's not a given. It's not something that everyone is taught as a kid. It's not something, you know, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha is such a basic, you know, understanding in our lives, and make it easier for you. Basically, it's something that we absolutely could be a light onto the nations. You know, it doesn't have to be something from, you know, strictly in our own community.
Right.
Simcha, you are definitely one of the top performers at weddings, bar mitzvah, Passover programs. Have you ever been to a wedding or Passover program where things just didn't go as planned? Like you had like a bridezilla or somebody freaking out, and you as the band, like,
or like was the wedding
standing there and going, what the heck is going on? What do I need? Do I need to just sing to them and calm them down? Talk to us, Simcha. We need
or
to
like even like was a wedding, like God forbid, ever called off that you went to, and you're sitting there like, what is going on? They're taking forever trying to sign the ketubah, like what is happening?
You know why? Because another band would just go, the heck with it, I'm leaving. You're such a mensch. I can so see you, not just being the band man, but sitting there and trying to be the mediator between everybody in the family.
So unfortunately, the answer to this question is yes. You know, I've unfortunately had to become more of a marriage counselor than a singer on many occasions, but not usually between the bride and groom. It's usually between the extended families. You know, I wanted to once write a book called "If You Can Fall Off It, I've Fallen Off It." You know, I've seen anything that can possibly go wrong at a wedding. I've seen anything that can potentially go wrong at a show. I've been a part of. It's the nature of the beast. I've been doing this, thank God, for so many years. I think I estimated with someone last night that I did about 1,400 weddings.
Wow.
You know? So,
wow.
And you know, my success rate is, you know, let's say a handful. It's unfortunate, but my wife knows this, that I can come home from a wedding in the rare occasion. I mean, this is once in years, and say, I don't think this one's going to work out. But I've picked to put in my card and say, we have a repeat discount if you want to have me at the next one.
Do some people drive you crazy? Like the parents where they say, don't stand under the chuppah, stand under the chuppah, stand over here, go over there, like make you dizzy with all the...
Right. In the beginning, there was a lot more of that. Now, the productions, I would say, are significantly larger, as you guys have seen.
Yes, amazing.
The logistics are unbelievable. I mean, I'm very involved a lot of times on the back end of weddings that people don't really know about because it mostly takes place beforehand. But I've been involved in, chartering jets to get equipment to islands. I've been in charge of the logistics now are so comprehensive that nothing is left to chance. Nothing is left to. Okay,
so you must work.
I think you should go play with some toys. Okay.
You must work with the party planners also, right?
So really what my business evolved into very much is when I joined the Jewish music world, once in a while I would be brought on as the Jewish singer in a secular wedding. And the first couple times that I went, I was horrified really to see that, like, to most of the secular Jewish world, Jewish music meant Hava Nagila or Havenu Shalom Aleichem. And I was like, wow, you guys don't realize how you're leaving so much on the table. So it was around that time that I started working with, actually in LA, a couple of the very, very well-known, American music houses to bring Jewish music at the secular weddings to a level that was just as high as the secular music at a secular wedding. And
Wow.
if you come to some of the weddings now in LA that are more of a secular crowd, the first dance, the Simcha dancing, is like a club in Tel Aviv. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like the energy. I don't mean the words that we're singing. I mean the energy, and the crowd is blown away. They're like, "What is this? This is unbelievable. Why are we stopping after a half hour?" They keep pushing and pushing, and it's something that has brought me around. This particular skill, I guess, has brought me around the world, and it's something that I love doing because you have this ability to bring Yiddishkeit to a wedding that would have otherwise been, void of such, and you can ensure that a couple has a kosher marriage. It's such a special treat.
Right.
You ever sing at home?
No.
You never sing at home.
We try that. My boys are getting bigger and they love to sing.
So when you have like Shabbat dinner and all your guests are coming over, they're like, sing for us, sing.
Right. So in my shul, I'm the chazan only on like special occasions, Shabbos Mevorchim, which is once a month, or if Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbat, there's like interesting nusach that has to be done. I try not to turn down an opportunity to sort of teach people the real nusach, but on a typical Shabbat, especially in the summer, I'm dead to the world.
Oh.
I want to ask you, Simcha, your wife works with you, like in the back end of the business? Well, I'm sure she works with you because look at this pretty gorgeous thing on the screen here.
Yeah. She is very, very careful not to get involved in anything music related, not from a perspective of because I wouldn't value her opinion or anything like that. On the contrary, like anytime I'm doing something, a project or whatever, I always love her take on things. I love her fresh approach to things. She's not thinking the same way as I'm in it every day. So it's
right.
She doesn't want to spoil her relationships with people in the industry based off of the negotiations sometimes are tough. And I'm very good at separating my emotions from my friendship, and most people aren't. It's not a matter of that she can't, it's just a matter that she doesn't want to even put herself in that position. The interesting thing is that she is a makeup artist. So once in a long while we'll cross paths on a job.
Well, this is good to know, because when the Yankees go to New York for business, we will hire
New
Mrs.
Jersey.
Leiner.
If you come to Deal, we're right near Deal, so you can come.
When we talk to you about after the show about our documentary that we want you to write a song for, she can join us and do our makeup.
Be on the cast, exactly. Yeah, it works out well because by the time a makeup artist finishes, the singer starts. So we never have to really.
That's awesome. So Simcha, before we close out, I have one last question. I wanted to just ask you, is getting recognized troublesome for you? You know,
Right.
it could be anywhere, like in a restaurant. I mean, like even in a Pesach program, you know, you just want to sit there and eat your matzah and your gefilte fish. And like people are like coming to you probably, obviously,
Right.
maybe not with cameras when it's the Chag, but, you know, just coming up to you, asking you questions, and you just want like 5 minutes of peace, but yet you, you know, your fan base is your fan base and you're such a kind human being. I could never see you turning anyone away, but you know, there are those moments
like
where
the Yentas, you know, when you wanted to go and grab something to eat and we would not
the inner
let you
yenta
eat.
comes out of everyone, right? The truth is that one of the things that I've done over the years, and I love doing is mentoring, you know, singers that are just entering the business. And really one of the like biggest fundamentals that I try to leave younger singers with is that you have to remember that if you at any point in your life get like frustrated or angry with people that are recognizing you, they only recognize you. Like, in other words, you have to have a certain level of gratitude to those that recognize you, because you are only worth recognizing if people are recognizing you. So that being said, don't set yourself up for failure. So maybe Chol Hamoed, don't go on a trip to Disneyland if you're the type of person that's going to be disappointed with people are coming over and saying hi. So I think my wife recognizes that very much as well, that if people come over, the important thing for me is to acknowledge them. And if the environment is right, you know, take a picture or say a video or a phone call or something like that. But really, like, don't go to vacation in Yeshiva week in Miami and expect to have a vacation. You know, I've gotten very, very interesting pictures sent to me of myself that no one should ever see of themselves.
But I'm sure that only you would be able to get a table at Fuego on Yeshiva week.
That I can do.
Simcha, this was an amazing interview. We can go on for hours talking to you. I have so many more questions. Your journey to success, both professionally and personally, is inspirational to us. Your humbleness, you know, really, when we ran up to you in the hallway and you were just trying to grab something quick to eat, and you were so nice, really touched our heart. We wish you much success in your music career, and we hope to have you on Yentas in the City again, because we have some projects that we are working on.
The live version. We'll do the in-person version. We'll take out a room somewhere. Yeah, it's important for me to just let all your amazing listeners know, and I listened to a couple of your podcasts, so I see the diversity in your audience. This latest album that I released just a few weeks ago is called Home. You can find it anywhere: Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, and it's the ultimate collection of music that, exactly like Rabbi Einhorn said, this is the music that I want to listen to. It's not the music that I think people want to hear. This is past that already. This is the music that I'm doing for myself. And if you want to get involved in my listening session, I think you're going to enjoy it too. But really, no one's forcing anyone to listen to anything. So if you do take the time, I appreciate it. And
you know,
I think there's a lot of great...
You know what's going to happen right after the interview. We're going to drive home from the office.
Listening
to your...
Go for it.
We are definitely going to write you what we think.
I want a full review.
Full review. We would like to thank all our followers for listening to this episode. Please remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Yentas in the City. You can also write to us to dearyentas@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you and answer your letters on our weekly advice column. We'd like to thank our team for all the behind-the-scene work to bring this episode together, even though the green screen did not work well today. And lastly,
every successful production has technical difficulties.
Difficulty. Thank you to our two sponsors of tonight's episode, Soft Smart Systems International and Conquest Realty Investments. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We have a lot more coming. Until next time, this is Eti Elkis and Karen Cohen, and we are Yentas in the City. Simcha, thank you again for being here.
Thank you.